Hi, welcome. This is Dr. John DeMartini. This is one of the most amazing and inspiring shows that you can listen into. If you want to be on the edge of your seats, if you want to open up your heart, if you want to expand your mind, and you want to meet incredible people, stay tuned because you're just about to experience a transformative radio show that will change your life. And you're listening to the Dr. Pat Show that's coming up right next.
The following audio is via a Skype call.
Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Talk radio to thrive by. Powerful, inspiring, and coming to you live, bringing you stories of people like you and me busting through and living life full out. Get ready to dare to wonder what your life would be like if you knew you could not fail. Hey, everybody, welcome. It's so great to be connecting with all of you. Welcome to the Dr. Pat Show. Welcome to Transformation Talk Radio. Welcome to TransformationRadio.fm. Thank you guys for tuning us in and turning us on. It is so fun to be connecting with all of you. And yes, we actually do get all of your emails, and we actually do respond. But as a matter of fact, if you put your phone number in there, I actually pick up the phone and call you back, believe it or not. It's not a lost art. Thank you all for reaching out about what you'd like to hear more of. And so that's what we do. We actually listen to you, and then that's what we do. We go ahead and do it. Today's show is one of those things. You know, many of us struggle with the idea of meditation. As a matter of fact, for a really long time, I used to interchange the word meditation and medication. And I used to think, well, wait a minute. My coach would be like, why do you keep saying medication? And I'm like, I really don't know why I say that. But, you know, for me, meditation is not something I grew up with. And yet at the same time, I really did. I just didn't know it. So today, I love to be able to talk with my friends and colleagues, host of a fabulous show, fabulous show, which we're going to talk about, Spirit Fire Radio. But most importantly, what is it about Spirit Fire? So when I say that and I say, well, wait a minute, Spirit Fire, the practice of living awareness meditation. When I start to say that, you're probably thinking, wait a minute, did you actually say Spirit Fire and meditation in the same breath? I actually did, because that's what Tim Darter and Steve Kramer are all about. You know, the range, the depth and the breadth of what they have done and what they've created and what they continue to create and do captures the essence of what it means to live in the 21st century, to be in the world now where everything is like digital, smartphones beeping off probably during the show right here that we're doing, whether we're doing that or we're like them, and we have this amazing retreat center that people come to, that where everything gets to be turned off. And how does that then translate to how each of us lives our lives? Well, if you're talking to Tim and you're talking to Steve, as we will do today, you know, we will be talking to them about how the practice of living awareness shows up in their everyday lives. And what is it that they've learned and has shown up for them in hosting their own fabulous radio show. But this is something that we get to talk about, because when those of us that sign up for something don't really have a clue on what the journey is going to be like, we get to stop and ask ourselves the question, wow, how did I know that this would be where I am today, talking about something that I had no idea I was going to talk about, and reaching people that absolutely want to know what we have to say. So today we're going to be talking about living awareness, meditation off of the cushion. What does that mean? And why do we want to do that in the world we live in today? So let me introduce you to Tim and Steve and the co-host of fabulous radio show. Hey guys, welcome to the show.
Hi, Dr. Pat. Thank you for having us back.
Yes.
Yeah.
Thanks for that wonderful introduction.
Yes.
That's beautiful.
Well, you know, it's really interesting. I'm curious about what it's like to be you. And the reason I say that is, I'm sitting here and I was thinking about you guys this morning, because one of the things I remember here, and I like to watch the Weather Channel. Don't ask me why I watch the Weather Channel, probably because I'm bored with everything else. But, I really like to watch the Weather Channel for a lot of reasons. And this morning I woke up, knowing that I was going to be talking with you. And it's like, what? 3 inches of snow in Vermont, in New England? I mean, did I actually hear that? And yet at the same time, that is the reality of this. What is it like for you all because of the life that you've selected? Some days, I bet it does snow in May, doesn't it?
It does. And
It's
a shock.
always new. It's always fresh, and it always keeps our awareness alive. Yes, that was a little kooky, seeing snow in May.
We went from a 70-degree day to like a 30-degree day. Great.
But that's life for you. It's always fresh. It's always new.
It is. I want to do something interesting for those of you that don't know, Tim and Steve. I had asked you a question before. I asked you, had you ever introduced each other? And I would love to hear you both do that. It was the weirdest thing for me when I heard somebody actually introduce me on a show that I was on the other day. And I'm listening to them talk about me, and I almost kind of missed my cue, because I was like, what? Me? No, that's not me. I'm a girl from the Bronx that didn't want to get off the monkey bars. So how do each of you see each other as you introduce each other on this amazing journey?
Wow. Well, that is very interesting. And I must say, we both sort of scratched our heads with, okay, what? I do sit across from this guy almost 24/7. So, I'll start. May I introduce the listeners to Mr. Tim Darter? He is the executive director of Spirit Fire Meditative Retreat Center, which says a lot. He is really the backbone. He's the organizer and the ground. He's a tremendous support on the radio show, and he's the structure. He's the what do we want to say? He is the wise one. He's the one of few words that are very powerful. Those few words that can move mountains. And a master chef. He is the king of desserts here at Spirit Fire. So whenever people are sort of sparkling inside and their taste buds are coming alive and they're sort of in that dreamy space of, oh my God, my senses are doing something wild and it's over a dessert, it's Tim Darter who brought that to their senses.
Oh, well, thank you. That was wonderful.
Wow, I'm ready to eat.
And Steve Kramer, I'll introduce him as the president of Spirit Fire, and he is the orator of us. He's the wonderful host of Spirit Fire Radio who takes every concept we achieve each week and dive into and really pulls together the pieces to really make sure the listeners are able to pull it all in and understand how you can take meditation off the cushion and use it in your day. He, too, is a fabulous chef. We work very well in the kitchen together and come up with all kinds of wonderful things, creations.
I do sauces. He does desserts.
Oh, my gosh. And, it's really interesting. How do you give each other feedback? Let's say that you're working together. So put the radio aside for a moment, right? You work together 24/7. I had, talked to some people not too long ago, and they said the hardest thing they ever had to do was give each other feedback. And so have you ever done a sauce or a dessert and, one of you tastes it and it's like, oh, boy, this is just not the best, or it is the best? I mean, what have you discovered about the dialogue of providing each other with honest, caring communication?
Well, when it comes to cooking, the easiest way to answer that is we're each other's taste tester. So if it passes the other one, then it's good to go.
Yeah, we don't have too much problem telling each other exactly how it is. What's interesting is I sort of tend to be the more outgoing, gregarious, and Tim sort of seems to be the more contemplative. He's the calm one. So it translates in our lives in every way that every sort of thing I don't want to do and I don't really like to do, it's not my thing, it's naturally his thing. And everything he's like, I'm not so sure that I want to take that on. I want to go for it. So we're really blessed to actually be a very yin-yang, co-workers, partners in every way. So it's actually pretty simple by design.
A rewarding experience for both of us every time.
Yeah.
Yeah. And, the thing that I am so excited to talk about, we're talking about, meditation practice as well today, but staying calm in our emotions, right? And I will tell you that Benny will attest to this. Benny and I, over a 13-year period doing this thing that we call talk radio, I'm a pretty calm person, but I will tell you that every unexpected thing that you could possibly imagine has the potentiality to happen when you do live radio or live anything for that matter. But this is really, for me, if I didn't know how to meditate or be at a place of calm, I'm telling you, I had to learn it when I said yes to doing this here gig. We're going to take a short break. When we come back, we're going to talk about what is this experience that Tim and Steve have had in hosting a radio show. And as many of us ask ourselves, what has this experience shown us? What is it about saying yes to a bigger vision, which is a talk radio show? What is it about that then decides it's going to continue to ask us to emerge? And can we ever be the same? Let's take a short break, everybody. When we come back, Spirit Fire is in the house. You can go to spiritfireradio.com. We're going to talk about the retreat center as well. What an amazing place, everybody. Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
You got the touch. You got the power.
Hi, I'm Tim Darter.
And I'm Steve Kramer.
Join us on Spirit Fire Radio. Discover how to add the mechanics of meditation to your day.
And watch yourself connect in a whole new way. Find the amazing moments in life's routines that often pass us by. Add to your awareness with Spirit Fire Radio.
Tune in each Wednesday at 9 a.m. for your weekly guide to practical mindfulness. And to learn more, visit www.spiritfireradio.com.
Song of the Heart, Walking the Path of Light, from author and healer Francine Vale, is available now. Through Francine's life story, we learn how imperative it is to love one another. Once this simple truth is learned, peace on earth will prevail. Song of the Heart is a life lived and a story told for this purpose. To learn more about Francine and her amazing gifts, or to order your copy of the book today, visit angelsandlightbeings.com.
Have you ever tried to make lifestyle changes but had difficulty following through? Imagine what it would be like to get up each morning with energy, clarity, and motivation to tackle the day. If you want to get past limiting barriers that are preventing you from living your best life, join holistic health and wellness coach T. Carrie Mitchell each month on the Dr. Pat Show. Or visit lifestyle120.com today and start to receive the personal attention you deserve.
Holistic Medical Center is where you find it all. A healthy space with doctors who care, see, and listen to the whole you. Hi, this is Dr. Darvish. If you have not found an answer to your chronic symptoms, you will find answers here at Holistic Medical Center. Our doctors find the root cause of your symptoms and guide your body towards healing naturally. We transform lives from within. Visit drdarvish.com or call 425-451-0404.
A word of caution: if you prefer the status quo and you are not interested in improving every aspect of your life, this book will trigger the shift out of you. The Truth is Funny, Shift Happens is available now. Author Colette Steffen brings the powerful knowledge and life-changing energy and empowerment from the radio airwaves to the pages of her new book. To get your copy in paperback or ebook, visit thetruthisfunny.com today.
Sky Siegel co-hosts one of today's most popular psychic shows, Angels and Answers with Artie Hoffman, as she communicates healing messages from the spirit world. These messages can be astounding, enlightening, and life-changing. Born with the God-given talent of inner guidance and the amazing ability to heal, Sky has healed thousands of people. Schedule a reading with Sky now. Call 908-500-1474 and visit skyofangels.com. Wow, welcome back, everyone. I'm so thrilled to have both Steve and Tim join me here today. And as I said before, check out spiritfireradio.com, but also check out the Retreat Center. And we're going to talk about that in a little bit. Spiritfireretreatcenter.com, spiritfire.com as well. This is really something that both of you have talked about, enormously, and I have as well. In the world we live in, the day-to-day, busy world, which both of you know about, like we grew up in cities, New York City, we grew up in cities, but we've decided to choose something different in life now, today. You both said yes to doing a radio show. And I wasn't kidding when I said that, for me, I was either going to learn how to be peaceful or calm, or I wasn't going to be able to continue to do this. And I wanted to ask you host Spirit Fire Radio. What has that been like for both of you to do that? What have you learned about each other? And what have you learned about the world of hosting?
Well, we've learned quite a bit. It's really put our task of taking meditation off the cushion to to the test. I mean, we really have learned the smile, the take a long, slow, deep breath, because you never know what's coming. It's live. And as you say, hiccups can happen at any time, and you just need to learn to laugh and smile and roll with it. And I would say, really more than anything else, we went into this radio show with a really new concept. We talked to you, Dr. Pat, very soon before we really put the whole concept of the show together and got it on the air. It was very fast to sort of flash of inspiration, and then boom, we were going. And so really we learned so much about meditation and the practice of living awareness, which is Spirit Fire's meditation practice. We learned so much as we went, and I would say, I just kept being in a state of wonder at the various ways that so many people are using meditation constantly in their lives, really unbeknownst to them, these tools. Each week we have a different guest on the show who sort of emulates or sort of holds the essence of particular tools of our own meditation practice. So just by hearing about their lives, we would see this sort of tool and expression. So, I would say I just have a deeper and greater appreciation for these very specific tools, and that actually they're not specific. They're not only specific to our practice, but to almost every meditation practice. So just really the human story, and how fantastic it is that we all really will seem to be pushing ourselves for just a more aware life, and really to sort of come into our own, just the various ways we can all come into our own. And we certainly did that ourselves. And just great to see that reflected in other people and use what they had to say to bring it to our own lives.
Yeah.
And the show itself has become a great tool for us in the retreat center, because what we're able to do is sort of bring it full circle. A lot of times guests will come here and they're sort of like, well, what is meditation? How does it work? And we explain the practice, but then we can follow it up by saying, we had this person on the radio show and they exemplified this step, and here's how. And you see the light bulb go on in their head. You just see it click in them that, meditation no longer becomes scary to them, and they can see, this is how I can apply this in the real world. And I do it a lot of times without even knowing it.
Yeah. I was looking at, first of all, I want to talk about the center as well, because you just mentioned it. One of the things that I love, and Linda and I joke about this a little bit. You know, at one point in our lives, we had this vision to have like a retreat center, and you know, for youth really to come and be. And then I literally saw. I saw the pictures when we first met of the retreat center, and I looked at what you were doing. This is not just a retreat center. I mean, we say those words, retreat center, but I really want to be clear about this, because what you all are introducing to the world is a way of being. I mean, when I go to and I look at what you say, you know, you're talking about how people can create a new way of being in their life. That's really different, you know, and I would love for both of you to talk about this, because that's what the radio show is about. It's not just about, well, wait a minute. Yeah, Olivia Newton-John. Yeah, the call dropped with her. That's not what it's about. It's how do we show up in, you know, emotional bliss, even when things are coming apart around us, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, well, we need to learn to give ourselves, you know, some time. We need to learn to create space in our lives, and it's what we really love about having a retreat center. And we're on 95 acres. We allow people to create space, space in their minds, space in their week, a space, you know, really in the moment to moment. And that's really what meditation provides. And then we say, well, you know, really let this soak in for a weekend, for 4 days, even if some people come for a week. Really let this soak in and really notice the usually not noticed in this experience, and realize you can tap into that at any time in your day and bring it back to your life, bring it back to your day-to-day. It's what we try to do with meditation, which says, you know, it's not only that 20 minutes that you're on the mat, it's what comes to you in that 20 minutes that you notice is happening all the time, is in your day. You know, how can you sort of take an experience that has opened you up to newness and to a new level of awareness, and how can you recreate that in your day? You know, how can you let that sink in so it's got an anchor and it can show up, you know, whenever you call upon it. So it's a great gift we give people. It makes us really inspired every day to get up and do what we do.
Well, I know that, you know, part of this is that you not only honor the people that come there, but as you do on the radio show, right? You're honoring the earth and the land. So we're not just talking about, you know, oh, let's create a retreat center. There's a level of honoring that you bring to the forefront that demonstrates who you are in the world, right? But how it inspires people to become that. So when you're talking about food and you're talking about cooking, you're really talking about something that's honoring the earth as well. You know, this is really the heart of what you bring to the forefront in the way that you open your doors, right?
Yes.
Yeah, definitely.
Environment is everything, you know. Yeah. We create an environment with our mind. We create an environment that's an emotional environment. And we really need to appreciate what's going on around us. And if you can give someone 3 days of sheer appreciation with their senses, with their emotions, with their mind, you know, then we learn to create, that we've really got access to environments that will create a really wonderful life for us. And nature is just, I mean, how can you go wrong with nature? I mean, right now you go outside and I could spend an hour smelling lily of the valley and the narcissus everywhere. And you realize, well, wow, okay, if I can feel this bliss from this simplicity of this flower, well, you know, come on, there are ways. There are ways to bring appreciation into my life.
But I mean, isn't this really what we're talking about when we say the practice of living awareness? Because what you just described is the practice of living awareness in action. Mm-hmm. And somehow we got confused about the idea of meditation, right? And inaction. So there's this confusion that some folks have around meditation means doing nothing. And right. That is like so far from the reality of why it's important to look at the practice of living awareness. It's not just about awareness, isn't? We forget the living word.
Yeah, I
Right.
mean, so many people think that meditation is about checking out, when actually meditation is about checking in. It's your capacity to include more and include more and include more, but from the center of your being, with a sense of curiosity and wonder, and really with some ground there. So yeah, indeed, we're new at this in the West, meditation, but we're getting there real quick.
Yeah, we're really good at checking out, though, I must say.
Oh, indeed,
Yeah.
indeed.
That we're good at.
Yes.
Yeah.
One of the things that I wanted to ask you about is a radio show. I want to talk to you about the radio show
Yeah.
because sometimes we do a radio show and it doesn't always complement the rest of our life. That was me. My radio show did not complement what everybody around me, as the partner that I was in relationship with, what everybody thought the rest of my life should be like. It was actually in such contrast to that what is the term we use? Cognitive dissonance inside of me. Like, oh my gosh, why am I doing something that feels so good? And yet everybody around me is like, Pat, dude, get a real job. Did you have that, or was it more aligned for you? I think I already know the answer because I remember you both already prepared for the show before we even talked, right?
Right. And we have the retreat center is a beautiful place to really expose us to people as guests. And to really, one thing we've gotten really good at is we're very in tune now to the guests at even a different level, and we can really show and pick up on, oh, wow, they'd be a really good guest, and here's why. Here's the step that they would apply their life's passion to. And that just sparks all kinds of different conversations that then just leads to a show.
Yeah. I mean, the retreat center is a revolving door of really within all of us with these sensitive sort of people that are seekers. They're seeking for peace. They're seeking for a greater awareness. So essentially all of them are teachers. They've all got some gig going that has to do with consciousness and what they're trying to learn and what they're trying to achieve, not only within themselves, but as an expression in the world. And it just inspires us. We hear their stories and we say, oh, we'd love to talk about that on the show.
And it inspires them. They see a whole different way to get their message out and to really do it in a very positive, beneficial way for the world.
And to realize that they are actually embodying something magnificent. They are embodying a tool that is so inspiring to other people if you just look at it through a certain lens. And so, the show has helped us develop beautiful relationships with guests on a much deeper level, and great conversations that we normally wouldn't have. So it's been win-win all around.
Well, I've got a really interesting question for you. It's actually a question I don't even ask myself because every time I ask myself this question, I go into complete oh my gosh, I can't even figure that out. Here's the question. I bet if I asked Benny this, he wouldn't be able to figure it out either. But Benny would give me a politically correct answer. So here it is. People have asked all of us, what are some of our favorite shows? And it's really fascinating on which day you ask me what I come up with. Here it is.
Well said already, Pat. I'll give you a ding for that one. Well said.
I know, right, Benny? Benny's going to be like,
it depends on what day it is. You're absolutely right.
Benny, you're going to say right, they're all good, right? Oh, my God, they're all good.
Of course.
There's so many good ones.
100%. Yeah.
That is the right answer, right? But we're going to come back, and we're going to ask Tim and Steve that question, and then we're going to find out why. Stay tuned, everybody. We'll be right back.
Hi, this is Leslie Fontaine, and my show is Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com. When we're bogged down with our emotions, the hardships that plague us in our relationships, at work, our finances, we literally can't see the higher plane where we could be operating from. Tune in to Leslie Fontaine, Sheer Alchemy on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
If you're one of the millions of Americans suffering from anxiety, you probably know how powerless and out of control this emotion can make you feel. This is why it is so important to remember that anxiety is created by your mind, which means that you can learn to use your mind to uncreate it. Hello, my name is Dr. Friedman Schaub. My award-winning book, The Fear and Anxiety Solution, provides you with a step-by-step breakthrough process to understand and resolve the root causes of your anxiety and build a solid foundation of confidence and inner peace. If you're ready to take your power back, visit thefearandanxietysolution.com. That's thefearandanxietysolution.com, or call 866-903-6463. That's 866-903-MIND.
I'm Christine Upchurch, and this is a Stellar Reflections Minute. What does the word healing mean? Many think that healing merely means eliminating symptoms. However, based on my many years as a healer, I have a much broader perspective on the word. Healing can manifest in a variety of ways, including having physical problems resolved, becoming more emotionally centered, experiencing better relationships, gaining greater clarity, and feeling more spiritually connected. True healing always includes some level of transformation. Whatever form healing takes, there is one commonality, an improvement in quality of life. To me, the highest form of healing goes beyond aligning with wellness. It comes from recognizing our soul's voice and allowing it to speak through us. And in that sense, don't we all yearn to heal into our wholeness? Please visit stellarreflections.com or call 425-999-9836. That's 425-999-9836.
What if your body and mind were the compasses to the secrets, mysteries, and magic of life? Glenna Rice, co-host of The Questionable Parent, is inviting you to access all that is possible. Glenna is a 10-year certified veteran Access Consciousness facilitator who offers an amazing variety of life-changing classes and workshops. Work with Glenna from anywhere, with teleclasses and workshops all over the globe. To learn more and see Glenna's current schedule of events, classes, and workshops, visit glennarice.com.
Every day is so wonderful, and suddenly it's hard to breathe. Now and then I get insecure from all the pain.
Benny, I know you did that. Benny.
Well,
Benny
I didn't sing it, so yeah, of course I played
Benny,
it back for you.
Benny is like, yeah, we're talking about the question, favorite radio shows, right? What are the favorite radio shows? And there's a little story behind that song and Christina Aguilera. And I'm going to hold off sharing that. But if you guys really want to go figure it out, just Google Christina Aguilera and then crust busting in the same Google and see what you come up with. Or crust buster in the same Google and see what you come up with. But thinking about favorite shows, it can be a little bit like, really, Pat, do you have one? Steve, Tim, favorite shows? And why have they become your favorite shows? So we're talking about both of y'all's journey in doing Spirit Fire Radio. And like we know, there are ups, there are downs, but then there are conversations. And you guys have had some of the greatest conversations. Do any stand out above the others? Tim, you want to go first?
Sure. So I've got a couple. One, because it was actually a little comical, is we had a shamanic healer on, Zakiah Blackburn,
yeah.
and who did, at the very end of the show, did a sort of a meditative chant with us and all the listeners. And Steve and I completely fell into it, and we were sort of
in that zone.
And the producer was sort of like, "Guys, where are you? Wake up!" Like, you know,
this is talk radio. He's typing
like,
in the little sidebar. This is talk radio. We're like, dude, we're in the zone. We're in the zone.
And then another one was Tammy Duncan, who was a guest we had here at the retreat center, who has a child with autism. And it was one of the best retreats we'd ever had. And to have her on the show, and the step at that week was Illumined Perception. And her take on autism was mind-blowing.
Yeah.
And really educational for all involved. So that was a wonderful show.
Yeah. She was just great. I mean, she really taught us that why ever limit your perception? Your perception of a situation, your perception can be as vast as you make it. And we've got these individuals on the planet who sense and see and feel just in ways that we can never imagine. And she was teaching people how to sort of learn that for yourself so you can create a greater level of communication with those who are diagnosed with autism. I would say, Steve here, you see, I just jump right in. That's what we've learned about each other, that I just will jump right in. Sorry.
Well, isn't that interesting, though, because that is the lesson, because our perception of people that show up different than us is our perception is that they're less than. Yeah. And, we go to that place of narrow view, narrow perception. And I think to myself, what if Einstein was a narrow perception kind of guy, right?
Yeah.
Would it really matter how smart he was?
Yeah.
Right. IQ, EQ, all the Qs. If you're living in your own mind, there isn't really much else in the world going on, is there?
And he certainly had a lumen perception. Man, did he ever stretch it? And actually, what I love is that we're all catching up to him. We're really, he said, prove me wrong, and everyone took it on, and we're really starting to unravel this idea of quantum theory. I just love how practical the new age has gotten, that everybody has taken these huge, what at one point were just such wild, dreamy, otherworldly concepts, and we've just really learned to make a lot of it accessible and practical. I kind of love that.
Yeah. I think it's actually necessary because, it's really fascinating we're talking about this. When we talk about, the practice of living awareness, we're not saying, the mindfulness of living awareness. That's not what you call it. You call it the practice of living awareness, which means there's actually something to do, right? Yeah. And part of the doing was the radio show.
Yeah.
And you're thinking about this. I think the question that I want to ask you about the radio show is, what have been some of the surprises? I think you just shared one with the story about the guest you had on autism. But some of the surprises, I know for me, I think back about various surprises that have happened. Some of them have been amazing, and others have just been what just happened there, right? But there will be surprises. What are some of the surprises that you all have gotten?
I would say that, I was surprised at how many singers we attracted to the show. There was a lot of singing going on. It was really surprising to me that how... I know that creative types, listen, I know creative types really need to be in these higher levels of the mental plane. They're in a meditative state all the time. And what was really interesting was we had so many singers and songwriters that would really talk so articulately about the very steps of the practice. We had a voice coach on for a step of our practice, which is soften, open, and release, and singing on the show and teaching us how to, really find our own inner voice and how to let that out. So the surprise was we were almost always called to sort of be humming and singing and tapping, and it's very musical.
Very musical. And, isn't that fascinating that that's the way that shows up? I'm actually going through a little something now, in the launch of transformationradio.fm. I'm really fascinated by how many conscious business people are showing up. Mm-hmm. I'm actually kind of happy about that, right? Mm-hmm. Right? Yep. Because we don't really think of business and, this world we live in, right? If we say meditation and business, people disconnect. But that's actually, I think it's really one of the greatest misconceptions we have right now. Because the people that you're getting, they are business people too.
Indeed.
Right.
And, there's a step in the practice called toroidal flow, which is the torus, which is basically what we put out is expressed in the world, and it returns back to us. It reflects back to us the expression that we put out. And I think so many business people are realizing that, it's not only about greed. It's not only about the product. It's really got to be about community. It's got to be about the greater community of the human community. What am I actually producing, and what am I trying to sell? Who am I trying to attract? And can I put some integrity in there, in my coworkers, in the product itself? So I think we're really seeing this day and age of too muchness, of sort of disproportionate, money going disproportionately. We're seeing greed. We're seeing a lot of people that really don't take as much integrity in the work that they do. And I think the real business people out there that really want to see a change and really want to put something quality out there and attract quality customers, or on every level, they realize that they've got to do some inner work. They've got to come from a place of integrity and a place of curiosity and a place of reverence in order to sort of attract that in their customers, whoever that is, on whatever level, in whatever business you're in.
Yeah, it's really interesting. Someone got a hold of a research paper I had done not too long ago, and they called me and they said, my gosh, we did a Google on you. And they said, yeah, forget about that. This is now somebody talking to me, right? Forget about that whole radio thing that you do. We don't even understand that. But when we got through all the pages of that radio stuff, right? And, Dr. Pat and all that craziness, we're actually interested in the research you did. And I said, who the heck are you? I said, I don't even know who you are. And I said, research from what decade are you talking about, right? And they said, well, didn't you do a paper in 2007? I said, yeah, I did a couple of papers. We want you to turn that into a book. And I said, really? And they said, yeah. He said, the guy said to me, aren't you the Broken Promises chick? And I said, oh my gosh, you actually want me to write a book about broken promises? And I started to go through post-traumatic stress disorder. That reminded me of that research I did. And think about it, guys, 1,200 pages of interview notes with people that have felt all levels of betrayal, broken promises, and everything, right?
Oh, my goodness.
And I know. And I thought, and I'm sitting here and I'm getting ready for the show today, and I thought, what would meditation show me with that scenario? What would I become more aware of with that scenario? What would Tim and Steve help me see in that scenario? We're going to take a short break. We come back. They're going to show us how this, the practice of living. You guys are ready. We're going to talk about the practice of living awareness in action, everybody. Yeah. How does it affect us? How have their lives changed? And what do we learn from this? And what is it that maybe we can learn about things we're called to do that we don't want to do? Stay tuned. We'll be right back.
After all you put me through, you think I despise you. But in the end, I want to thank you, because you made me that much stronger. Well, I thought I knew you, thinking that you were true. Guess I couldn't trust.
Abundance Takes Flight continues for the month of May. If you missed the extraordinary event in person, you will not want to miss this video. Make a donation to ShareWheel via abundancetakesflight.org. That's abundancetakesflight.org, and receive your life-changing video from Lynn M. Brown, 8 Things Directly from the Mouth of Money. You can also view the list of vendors who are gifting 50% off their proceeds to ShareWheel when you mention this ad for the month of May.
Awaken to your radiant, authentic self. For over 15 years, Soul Purpose Advocate Nancy Monson has been focused on leading change in the lives of those looking to live their true purpose. She is devoted to supporting people in living a soul-directed life every day. Let Nancy help you overcome fear, worry, and doubt. Visit everydayspirituality.com to learn how Nancy can be your soul purpose advocate.
Get ready to rid yourself of all that is weighing you down and holding you back. Coming Clean, The Art of Transparency with Catherine Moss is a hit show that brings a real and dynamic message to uncovering and believing in the true amazing being you already are. Tune in and let Catherine help you become truthful, authentic, and mindful of living on purpose one day at a time. Live each Tuesday, 9 a.m. Pacific on TransformationTalkRadio.com.
Called the Oprah of radio by her listeners, award-winning host Dr. Pat Baccili is blowing the doors off of traditional talk radio. Get ready for an energizing delivery and powerful interviews with leaders in the field of human potential. Dr. Pat's fresh, new perspective on living life full out has catapulted her show to the top of talk radio. Tune in and Dr. Pat will help you thrive instead of merely survive. Visit thedrpatshow.com. That's THEDRPatshow.com for listening times in your area. In retirement, will you outlive your money? It's a common question for people approaching retirement, but it doesn't need to weigh on you. Ask Ameriprise financial advisor Jeff Packman about the new Confident Retirement Approach. You and Jeff can break down retirement planning step by step to get the real answers you need. Call Jeff Packman, financial advisor, today at 425-453-0272. Office is located at 601 108th Avenue Northeast, Suite 1800, Bellevue, Washington, 98004. The Confident Retirement Approach is not a guarantee of future financial results. Investment advisory products and services are made available through Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc., a registered investment advisor. Ameriprise Financial Services, Inc., member of FINRA and SIPC.
Almost everyone at some time in their lives ask themselves, what am I? Most of our questions are ego-generated and simply don't address the problem of our false self. It's time to relax your ego and embody your soul. Dr. Dan Cohen, neurologist, inventor, and author, has created tools to awaken a new way to transform from who you thought you were into what you truly are. Visit toolstoawaken.com today.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Yes. And I got to say, Christina, I love you, dude. I liked you pulling that hair back, girl, last night on watching that. Yeah, I do. I watch reality television. I do watch The Voice. But, this is what we're talking about here today. How do we get to show up in our lives? And I'm so thrilled that Steve and Tim are joining us here today. SpiritFireRadio.com, SpiritFireRetreatCenter.com, SpiritFire.com. And, we're talking about, what it is we say yes to in the world. We were kind of chit-chatting during the break. I wanted to ask both of you, this was a giant yes for you. I wanted to know if you've been able to kind of look back and say, how has the radio affected the retreat center and how has the retreat center affected the radio? Now, I know you talked about that before, about the guest, but I'm curious about what's changed within inside of each of you that's maybe been moved forward into the center.
I'll answer that, but it's in a little different regard. So
okay.
What I've seen and noticed is in my co-host, Steve Kramer. He's blossomed. He has completely blossomed from what he thought he knew about the practice, and he's taken it to a whole nother level that's not only stunning and beautiful, but inspirational. And he brings that back into the center and shares it with whatever guest and whatever topic happens to come up at the time.
Oh, shucks.
And it's all true.
Well, I have learned so much about the practice of living awareness. I have to say, it's interesting. I've been listening to, every year they do this Hay House World Summit, and Louise Hay has all these great names, many of which I'm sure you've had on. She's had Bruce Lipton and Adea Judith and Frank Lipman and even Doreen Virtue, and just listening to these 1 hour, there's these 1 hour podcasts through this World Summit. And what strikes me is that all of these people who at one, these are all great achievers. And they all have the simplest message. They all have these really just practical, simple messages for everybody. And they say, go out and get the app for meditation. Go out and read this book. It's really not about them so much as it would have been. This is my market. Maybe it's because they've been around a while. But what just gets me is just how we're making these grand concepts of awareness and of consciousness and of the new age and of a new way of living, of transforming our lives, that all of this has become such common speak these days, and not common in a boring way, but that we all can have a dialogue about it that's accessible, that's understandable, that we can relate to. So it's really just, for me, it's just reaffirmed that we are no longer on the dawning of the age of Aquarius. We are in it. I mean, we are really in the new age, and we can talk to people. We've talked to acupuncturists, voice coaches, nutritionists, esotericists, wellness coaches, Ho'oponopono healers, moms, yoga teachers, you name it, researchers. We had songwriters. We had a defense lawyer. Right. And all of these people on the show, we could talk about consciousness on every level and words that they understood. And it just made me feel so good about where we're at. We look at the world sometimes and we think, oh, man, it's just going to, it's gone to the birds. And actually, I would say no, that really there are levels of consciousness that are just raising in the everyday and in everyday people. And it's made me realize that awareness is accessible to everybody, and it's become a common language. And that just makes me feel great about the world we live in.
Yeah. Yeah. One of the things that I'm really struck by as I'm listening to you, both of you speak, and of course I listen to the shows, but one of the things I'm really struck by is how much we can do to raise awareness. And, it used to be we were kind of restricted by, the sphere of influence we had in the moment we were in, like before smartphones and stuff, right? When I first started this, my first hour of airtime was on internet radio in 2003. That's why people wanted to have me committed, by the way, because, right? 2003, internet radio, for real, Pat, right? I mean, nobody was listening to internet radio, but somehow we have to trust our spirit. So can you talk about how the practice of living awareness helps us get more in touch with our spirit nature so that we can make decisions more intuitively?
Well, if specifically the practice of living awareness is 14 steps. There's 7 steps that really lead us to just sitting and peacefully abiding within ourselves. We are comfortable in our body, our emotions are calm, and our mind is somewhat steady. And we're able to sit, let thoughts go by. We don't follow our thoughts. We're not thinking too much. There's space in our mind. That's the first 7 steps of the practice. And the last 7 steps really have to do with insight, with bringing us to the space of mind that has access to our higher selves, to intuition, to creativity, to inspiration. And it is a simple 14-step procedure. One step leads to the other, and it just simply works. So it's really about first getting comfortable in our own skin and really understanding the breath and learning how to sit with ourselves and really appreciate who we are, what our perception is, and what's in front of us, and what tools we're working with, just meaning our mind, our body, our emotions. Yeah. And then what do we do with that? And giving people the tools to go places with that, a sense of curiosity. Where can I go with this thing called my mind? Now that the rest of me is feeling really centered, where can I go with that? What can I receive? What can I become aware of? And how do I use that in my everyday? So it's just very practical steps that just bring us to a fuller version of ourselves and allow us to express that and receive that, magnetically attract that same level of vibration in the people around us.
So people are going to want to know how they can plug in, how they can find out more about the steps, and also about the retreats. I mean, you have got retreats going on all the time. Can you tell folks how they can find out more about this, how they can actually come to a retreat?
Sure. So if they go to spiritfire.com, there they will see the three what we call pillars of Spirit Fire. One is education, one is meditation, and one is the retreat center. So all they need to do is select which one they're interested in, or go to our upcoming events. And we have a new round of the practice starting on June 6th. So if anyone's interested in registering for that and joining us live online every day, our founder, Donna Mitchell-Modiak, leads those meditations daily, and if you can't make it live, you can do a podcast of them whenever your schedule allows.
And it's all free.
Yeah, totally.
All free. Basically, online, live, free meditations every day.
And then there's a listing of retreats up there as well. So whatever your fancy is, you can find one that you're interested in. And we just had a Living Awareness retreat this last weekend, where a lot of new practitioners came and learned a little bit about the practice and got a good feel for what each step means and how they can live it in their life.
And ate some awesome avocado chocolate mousse.
Yeah.
And then tell people about the radio, because you have a radio page on your website too.
Absolutely, spiritfireradio.com, and it talks all about the ways that we are the platform of the show, the ways that we are taking meditation off of the cushion and inviting guests who really hold the essence of what is a meditative step. How do you see meditation and tools of meditation, things we learn on the mat expressed in everyday life? And so all of our archives are there, an explanation of the practice of all the steps. It's at spiritfireradio.com. And
and if there's something that people want to set up with you and schedule their own type of retreat, they just call you, right?
Totally.
Yep, or email us.
Retreats at spiritfire.com.
Thank you guys so much. You rock. Thank you so much for joining me here today. How fun was this?
It was awesome.
Fun.
Okay, I just can't help stop thinking about dessert right now. I'm just like right in that dessert zone. Thank you guys for that. We're going to take a short break, everyone. Please, spiritfireradio.com, Spirit Fire Retreat Center, all of the above. We'll be right back.
Tides that I tried to swim against broke me down upon my knees. Oh, I beg and please, singing, come out of things unsaid. Shoot an apple off my head and a trouble that can be.
The preceding audio was via a Skype call.